Get ready to uncover truths that most people will never speak aloud, because when it comes to women, love, and the depths of human behavior, what's visible on the surface barely scratches the surface. The real story is more intricate, more powerful, and more human than many dare to admit. Let's start with something most people don't know. Some women, well into their 90s, continue to experience powerful, satisfying orgasms. And yes, it's backed by science. The clitoris, the only human organ created solely for pleasure, never ages. It remains fully alive, responsive, and capable of ecstasy from youth through the golden years. This alone defies everything society tries to tell us about aging, especially about women and desire. Now imagine this. While the male sexual response tends to peak early in life, women's desire, pleasure, and depth often intensify with age, not fade. Sound shocking? That's just the beginning. Let's dive deeper into the emotional, psychological, and physiological truths most people will never tell you about love, sex, and the emotional landscape of women, especially women over 50. Why intimacy feels so different to her. After intimacy, many men instinctively turn over and fall asleep. But for women, it's not over. In fact, for many, it's just beginning. They crave emotional presence, touch, conversation, cuddles, that feeling of "I'm still here with you." And no, it's not because they're clingy or overly sensitive. It's because for most women, physical intimacy is deeply tied to emotional connection. It's about bonding, not just a release. When a woman feels emotionally fulfilled in bed, her brain builds a powerful cycle of pleasure that connects her back to that experience over and over again. She doesn't want more out of obsession, but because her emotional memory of that closeness compels her to seek it again. Self-touch, confidence, and desire. Here's another fascinating psychological truth. Women who regularly explore their own bodies, without shame, without guilt, tend to have higher levels of sex hormones. That means stronger desire, better emotional confidence, and healthier romantic relationships. Because when a woman feels in touch with her own body, she's less likely to seek validation from others and more likely to engage in connection from a place of wholeness, not need. Confidence in bed, it's quieter than you think. Think bragging about your skills makes an impression. Think again. Talking up your bedroom prowess does little to impress most women because high expectations often set the stage for deep disappointment. What actually lingers in a woman's memory is subtle attentiveness, steady rhythm, an unspoken understanding of her needs. Quiet confidence, not arrogance, is what creates true magic. Eye contact, the silent language of desire. Misreading the signals can cost you everything. When a woman frequently avoids eye contact, glances away quickly, or gives half-hearted smiles, it's not always shyness, it's often a sign of emotional withdrawal or disinterest. But when she holds your gaze, lets her eyes linger just a moment too long, that's heat, that's intrigue, that's an open door. Can you feel the difference? The mind is her playground. Believe it or not, approximately 1% of women are capable of orgasm through mental stimulation alone. No physical contact, just pure internal arousal. It's proof of the psychological power of female desire. And here's the biology. The clitoris never loses its sensitivity. It remains a fully functioning pleasure center for life. And the average female orgasm? It lasts 4 times longer than a male's. Women aged 40 to 50 frequently report stronger, more powerful orgasms than they experienced in their 20s. Why? Lower water retention in aging tissues actually amplifies sensation. Less may really be more. Why women get drunk faster and why it matters. Ever wonder why women often seem to get tipsy quicker than men, even if they drink the same amount? It's not about weakness, it's biology. Women absorb alcohol differently due to unique enzyme levels and body composition. It's another example of how women's bodies operate on a completely different rhythm than men's. And about that classic question, how do I look? Sometimes she's not asking for brutal honesty. She's asking for reassurance, kindness, a reflection of how you see her through the lens of love, not perfection. It's not about the answer, it's about the feeling behind it. Loneliness, strength, and hidden desires. Many women, especially later in life, quietly fear loneliness. But here's the twist, they also adapt to solitude with a kind of fierce grace. The paradox is that this fear of being alone often holds them back from exploring the full range of their sensual and emotional potential. They become self-reliant, sometimes too much so, to their own emotional detriment. Sexual compatibility before commitment. Here's a statistic worth noting. About 80% of women assess sexual compatibility before marriage or long-term commitment. Why? Because for them, intimacy is not just physical. It's about energy, responsiveness, empathy, rhythm. According to studies, the ideal range for genital compatibility, 8 to 10 centimeters, although for most women, emotional presence matters far more than size. Ovulation sparks spikes in desire. Yes, even in women in their 40s and 50s. Her walk, her scent, her vocal tone, they all shift slightly during this window. The body speaks even when she says nothing. What 50 really looks like, many women over 50 report a sexual renaissance. Things that once felt forbidden or taboo become curious, exciting, even empowering. They know what they want and they're less afraid to ask for it. This isn't regression, it's growth. Even casual actions, like going to the bathroom in groups, aren't always about gossip or vanity. Often it's about emotional safety, mutual reassurance, decoding an emotional moment in private. It's bonding in a world that often misunderstands them. Reading her signals, the unspoken signs of interest. She points her toes toward you. She plays with her hair. She stands closer than necessary. These aren't quirks, they're cues. Powerful subconscious messages that say, I feel safe, I'm interested, I'm watching you. Are you watching me? What men and women truly produce. With each heartbeat, the male body produces 1,500 sperm, a remarkable number. But a woman, with each experience, builds emotional memory. She creates desire that's layered, nuanced, often lasting much longer than the moment itself. Lip-to-lip connection? Over 70% of women say it sparks arousal faster than touch elsewhere. Morning intimacy, especially in positions that allow for deeper internal stimulation, can lead to some of her most powerful experiences. It's not just about mechanics, it's about timing, trust, and energy. Fantasy, film, and feminine energy. Watching romantic films or listening to music with emotional lyrics can trigger fantasies, even in women who appear emotionally guarded. Why? Because these experiences unlock doors that logic tries to keep shut. Women who regularly make love, especially in emotionally secure relationships, tend to radiate more confidence, more emotional light. Their libido remains higher, their mood more uplifted. They're not dressing for men, they're dressing for the woman they are today, cyclical, evolving, beautifully complex. Scents, voices, and emotional chemistry. Here's a wild truth. A man's natural scent, his real body chemistry, can trigger desire in a woman before he says a single word. No cologne needed. And if you've noticed a woman's voice become slightly lighter, more playful around you, don't ignore it. That subtle shift might be her way of inviting you closer. Couples who watch adult content together, respectfully, without pressure, tend to report higher levels of emotional trust. Because in those moments, they learn to navigate desire without shame, and that builds safety. When pleasure triggers sadness. Some women experience deep sadness or emotional withdrawal after climax. It's not guilt, it's often unresolved emotional sexual energy rising to the surface. Sexual experiences, especially for emotionally tuned-in women, can act like a mirror to everything they've buried. And did you know, sperm contains zinc and calcium, two minerals that improve dental health. Strange, but true. The body and mind are always more connected than we think. Vulnerability, wisdom, and connection. Want to understand a man's character? Look closely at the people he surrounds himself with. That'll tell you more than any polished words. Arguing with fools, a waste of time. They'll drag you down and somehow win. Pick your battles, protect your peace. Never expose your deepest pain to someone who hasn't earned your trust. Vulnerability is powerful, yes, but it's also sacred. Give it to those who can hold it gently. Mark Twain once said, "The two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why." And here's one more worth remembering. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So take the step toward understanding yourself, toward understanding her, toward building connection that starts not between bodies, but between minds, souls, and shared truth. Final words. What did we learn today? That women are not just complex, they're masterpieces of emotional nuance, strength, and sensual depth. That love is more than 3 little words. That connection lives not just in a touch, but in a glance, a shared silence, a memory. If this video touched you, if it awakened something inside you, tap the like button. Subscribe to Love and Life After 50 for more raw psychology, real stories, and deep connection. And in the comments, tell me, what fact surprised you the most? What truth did you already feel even before you heard it? Because the more we understand each other, the more love stops being confusing and starts becoming real.